Hi there, this is Jaytech, welcoming you to the second last installment of my series of educational music production videos for Sonic Academy. Today I'm going to talk to you about a very important second last step for a final mix, and that is going through absolutely everything that you've done and asking the question, what can I switch off? And basically, this is just like proofreading a document and cutting out any superfluous words that aren't needed. It's like keeping your tweet down to a certain number of characters. It's basically a way to actually sort of audit every single thing that you've done throughout the whole project and see if it actually is making a difference, a positive difference. And the reason for this is that nobody's perfect. You know, if you, even just in this relatively straightforward dance track, there's 1,000 little things going on here, you know, that have just accumulated over time. There's always going to be things that are gathering dust or that could have been done differently or that just weren't really necessary for the overall mix. And today I want to try and show you how you can squeeze a little more juice out of your track just by literally going through and asking the question of every single little thing, does it need to be there? This can sometimes result in you losing a track, a complete track. You know, you might find that a particular synth layer is not necessarily needed. What I would do firstly is literally A/B every single EQ adjustment. I would probably try switching off and on the compressor, although I'm usually pretty happy with compressor settings, and listening for the difference. Also, just say if I was switching off that compressor, I'd sort of try and make A/B the difference at the same volume, because sometimes, you know, a compressor bringing extra volume can actually make it sound bigger without it necessarily being because of the compression. And so I'm going to go through and just try and switch everything off. What I'm also going to do, in addition to the processing, is I'm going to go through every single soft synth that I have loaded up, and I'm going to go into the effects sections, and I'm going to be looking at these effects that are loaded in here and asking if they're actually needed. And what you'll find a lot of the time, especially when it comes to synthesizers, is that the effects units that are built into the synthesizers are not necessarily particularly great, and you'll find that their reverbs, their delays can often be doing a lot of harm. So what I'm going to do is go through the whole project and see if there's anything floating around in the processing, in the synthesizers, anything like that that doesn't need to be there, and just going to see what I can switch off. We'll have a render of the original version loaded into the project, and we'll give you an A/B listen as to how it sounds and see if we can squeeze some extra energy out of this track by doing literally nothing. So I'll see you in a sec. Alright, we're back. I've gone through and switched off a number of things. Overall, it's just been a matter of simplification. I've just switched off some EQs. This kick EQ in particular is much more simple than it was. The snares, similar situation. I've done a few things like switched off. There was some stuff on some of these omnispheres which I switched off. It wasn't always a case of actually switching things off entirely. In the case of these serums down here, I kept these reverbs and delays because they color the sound a lot, but they are a lot of fun. But I pulled back on them, so I'll give you a play of how it was before. And how it is now. So everything is just a little bit tighter, a little more cohesive, and there's a few kind of superfluous EQ adjustments throughout that I've done away with. One of the biggest improvements, I think, is that the chords used to sound quite washed out in the reverb, quite sort of muddy in the mid-range of the reverb. Whereas now I've sort of gone through and I've stripped back on a lot of things as far as spatial effects go to make it just a bit tighter. Here is how it was before in the earlier section. And so you see here, these are sticking out a lot more. These are playing back much more nicely now. And that was simply a matter, there was a ping pong delay on there, which was confusing the issue a little bit. And it's just things like that. So how it was before, one more time. and now. So that's basically a way to give your track this nice little upgrade without having to actually design anything. It's more about undoing some of the damage that naturally gets done in the process. You know, there's nothing wrong with, you know, applying some EQ or compression or something like that, and then later discovering that it wasn't actually really what you needed. But doing things this way before you submit your final mix, it means that you have a system in place for actually checking what of the processing you've applied is actually doing good work. So I hope you find that helpful. In the last video, I'm just going to be showing you a similar sort of technique to the one-up method from the first video in this series. And it's just basically a way to ensure that you're getting the most bang for your buck out of your own mastering technique. So stay tuned.
Thanks everybody for watching, commenting, and indeed liking. We really do appreciate all the support we get here on our Sonic Academy YouTube channel. So if you found this video super useful, please, we'd love you to hit the subscribe button. We update the YouTube channel every week with new content. And if you want to watch some more relevant content, just click on the videos beside me.